Have you ever walked past a bird that suddenly started screaming, while everyone else around you was completely ignored? Or noticed a dog warming up to one stranger instantly, yet refusing to go anywhere near another? Most people assume animals react in the moment, but science suggests something far stranger. Many animals aren't just looking at you, they're quietly collecting information about you. Every movement, every expression, every interaction becomes part of a profile stored inside a brain that evolved for one purpose: survival. And once you're in that profile, you may stay there far longer than you think. By the end of this video, you'll see every encounter with an animal in a completely different way. To survive in the wild, making the wrong decision about another living creature can be fatal. That's why many animals don't simply recognize a human. They learn to recognize which human. Researchers have found that species as different as birds, horses, dogs, elephants, dolphins, and even octopuses can distinguish individual people using combinations of faces, body shape, voice, movement, and behavior. To them, you're not just another member of your species. You're an individual with a history, but recognition is only the beginning. The real question is, what are they remembering? Imagine feeding the same crow every morning on your way to work. Days turn into weeks. Weeks become months. Eventually, that bird no longer flies away when you approach. It waits. Not because it memorized your schedule like a clock, but because your face, your walk, and your behavior have become linked with safety. Now imagine someone else chasing that same bird every afternoon. The crow doesn't confuse the two of you. It builds two completely different profiles. One means food, the other means danger. In the animal world, memory isn't about being intelligent. It's about staying alive. What's even more fascinating is that some animals don't rely on a single clue. Scientists have shown that certain species recognize humans even when clothes change, hairstyles change, or familiar routines disappear. Instead of memorizing one feature, they combine many small details into a much larger picture. It's remarkably similar to how we recognize our own friends across a crowded street. That ability helps animals adapt to environments where humans have become one of the biggest forces shaping their lives. Then things become even stranger. Some animals don't just react to what you do. They react to what you feel. Studies suggest that horses, dogs, and several other social species can respond differently depending on human facial expressions, posture, and emotional tone. A calm person often receives a different response than someone who appears tense or angry, even without saying a single word. They aren't reading minds. They're reading countless tiny signals that humans often don't realize they're sending. And while one animal learning about you is impressive, social animals sometimes go a step further. Young individuals often learn by watching older members of their group. Alarm calls, cautious behavior, and repeated observation help teach what is safe and what should be avoided. Scientists call this social learning, and it's one of nature's most powerful survival tools. Instead of every generation starting from zero, knowledge can spread through a group. It's not gossip in the human sense, but shared experience shaping future behavior. Of course, not every memory animals keep is negative. Some of the most remarkable stories come from trust instead of fear. Around the world, there are well-documented examples of animals repeatedly returning to people who treated them gently. Dogs have recognized caregivers after long separations. Elephants have shown signs of remembering trusted humans years later. Dolphins have approached familiar boats they associated with positive encounters. These relationships aren't based on language. They're built through consistent experiences repeated over time. Perhaps the most surprising example comes from creatures that seem completely unlike us. Octopuses evolved along an entirely different evolutionary path, yet laboratory observations have shown they can learn to distinguish between individual caretakers based on how those humans interact with them. Despite having a nervous system unlike any mammals, they still form different responses to different people. Two species separated by hundreds of millions of years of evolution can still arrive at the same survival strategy. Remember who helps you, and remember who doesn't. So what does all of this mean? It doesn't mean every squirrel, pigeon, or crow is secretly watching your every move. But it does mean that whenever humans become important to an animal's survival, many species pay far closer attention than we imagine. They remember patterns. They recognize individuals. They adjust their behavior. In a world we often believe belongs entirely to us, countless animals are making quiet decisions about the humans around them every single day. The next time you notice an animal staring at you, don't assume you're looking at an empty instinct. Behind those eyes may be a lifetime of observations, small memories, and survival decisions that began the very first moment it noticed you. Long after you've forgotten that encounter, there's a chance it hasn't. Because in the natural world, being remembered isn't unusual. Sometimes, it's the difference between life and death.